This episode is brought to you by Hyperice, the leader in advanced warm-up and recovery technology. They have tons of innovative products, like Venom-heated wearables to help soothe sore back muscles, Normatec compression boots to speed up recovery and increase circulation, and Hypervolt massage guns to improve mobility. Loved by athletes like Naomi Osaka and Erling Haaland. Try them yourself. Get 10% off your order with the code MOVE at hyperice.com.
How do you feel great on vacation? Like really good? Easy. You go to Aruba. You'll spend your time relaxing on cool white sand beaches and floating in healing blue water. You'll immerse yourself in natural wonder and find your center on an island where things move at your speed. You won't just feel great, you'll feel relaxed, renewed, and ready for life. That's the Aruba effect. Plan your trip at aruba.com.
This is Optimal Health Daily, episode 2464, Movement and Stress. What is the connection? Part 1 by Dr. Seth Oberst with fitforreallife.com. And I'm Dr. Neil, your very own personal narrator. Happy Monday and welcome to another edition of Optimal Health Daily, where I read some of the best blogs covering health and fitness, just like an audiobook, and always with a bit of my commentary at the end. And don't forget, we have a bunch of shows narrating blogs. Just search for Optimal Living Daily to find all of them. Now, today's post is a bit longer than what I typically narrate. So whenever that happens, I read the first half today and then finish it up for you tomorrow. So with that, let's get right to the first half as we optimize your life. Movement and Stress. What is the connection? Part 1 by Dr. Seth Oberst with fitforreallife.com. Stress is certainly and justifiably a buzzword of late, with an increasing number of media features on the negative impacts of this insidious force on our life. However, physiologists, physicians, psychologists, physical therapists, and many great coaches have known of the negative effects of stress on humans for years. Bruce McEwen, one of the preeminent researchers on stress, defines stress as, quote, experiences that are emotionally and physiologically challenging, end quote. A stressor, then, is any external stimulus that moves us away from homeostasis, which is the optimal state of the myriad physiological processes in the human body. Our stress response, then, is the body's attempt at restoring homeostasis. This is absolutely necessary in reacting effectively to something that could endanger us. But we must define the stress response beyond just reactionary processes, because the human ability to predict future stressors can induce a stress response to something that has yet to actually occur. Worrying about the weather, anticipating a meeting with your boss, financial woes, a pandemic, literally anything we imagine can set about a stress response that negatively impacts our biology if it persists. These responses can be rather predictable, including an increase in heart rate and blood pressure, a change in breathing patterns, an increase in cortisol, which is a hormone that serves to increase blood sugar, and the list goes on. For more on the numerous physiological effects of stress on the body, I encourage you to read Robert Sapolsky's fantastic Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers. As a physical therapist and coach, I often see the effect stress has on how we move. In response to something stressful, people typically change movement patterns by overextending their spines to combat the stressors. This essentially means that they increase the tension or tone of their extensor muscles. Extension serves to maximize airflow by lifting the rib cage and opposing gravity, both of which are needed to overcome a stressor. After all, our resistance to gravity allowed humans to stand upright. Evolutionarily, extension was also a necessary component in response to a physical threat, because you don't last long in the jungle slumped forward and breathing shallowly. But in modern times, that same movement pattern is often elicited with any stressor, as we discussed already. Think of a rigid, self-conscious dancer at a wedding, and you'll catch my drift. Ultimately, the body's adaptive capabilities to repeated stressors cause a habitual change in movement behavior, which may set us up for injury or performance loss. Does chronic stress affect how you move? Chronic and excessive stress drains performance and reduces our capacity to move in and engage with the environment for several reasons. 1. Loss of movement variability. Movement variability is the normal variation that occurs in performance of a repetitive task. A healthy amount of variability is necessary for human fitness and function. Variability allows adaptability. For example, a skilled runner is able to alter their gait slightly to adapt to the running surface, to their muscle fatigue, and so on. A stressed human is one that cannot easily get into different body positions and shapes because they're rigid and stuck in extension, a crucial piece to high performance. If you can't get into a variety of positions, how can you possibly adapt to all the unpredictable situations life throws at you? 2. Loss of joint rotation. When stressed and rigid, we lose the ability to rotate our joints because they are no longer centered in the socket as our brains tighten the joints to protect them from injury during a threatening experience. When the stress is chronic and non-threatening, this loss of rotation causes us to smash our joints together, which is at least partly why I see so many injuries to the rotational ball and socket joints, like the hips and shoulders. Just watch most anyone walk, and you'll notice a lack of symmetrical rotation in the body as people tend to stay stuck on one side, and it's almost always their right side. 3. Altered breathing patterns. One of the most common breathing issues we see is the hyperinflated pattern. Essentially, the athlete is in a state of excessive inhalation, breathing on top of breathing, with inadequate exhalation, meaning they just can't get air out efficiently. This hyperinflated pattern of breathing can be asymmetric, we typically see the left rib cage flared more than the right, or symmetric, where both rib cages are flared. This, of course, contributes to the overextended posture as the diaphragm pulls the ribs and spine forward and up. A vicious cycle now ensues where stressed, rapid breathing only exacerbates this pattern, making it difficult to find a relaxed and variable state. I explain the hyperinflated breathing pattern in more detail on my website. It's critical to keep the thoracic spine, where the ribs and diaphragm are located, mobile and strong if you want to have a solid lower back and core, have good posture, and avoid unhelpful hurdles like back, neck, shoulder, and hip pain. 4. Hear that on tomorrow's episode. You just listened to part 1 of the post titled Movement and Stress. What is the Connection? By Dr. Seth Oberst with fitforreallife.com. And I'll be right back with my commentary.
You don't need me to tell you that something always comes up when you're running a small business. Take the pain out of payroll benefits and HR and put the joy back in running your business with Gusto. Gusto's payroll and HR services can make it a little easier. Gusto was designed for you, the small business owner. They take the pain out of running a business. Automatically calculating paychecks, filing payroll taxes, setting up open enrollment. Gusto does it all. Want more? Time tracking, health insurance, 401k, onboarding, commuter benefits, offer letters, access to HR experts. Well, you get the idea. With Gusto, you can focus on the joy of running your business. It's super easy to set up and get started. And if you're moving from another provider, Gusto can transfer all your data for you. It's no surprise 94% of customers are likely to recommend Gusto. 94. And here's the best part. Because you're a listener, you get 3 months totally free. All you have to do is go to gusto.com/OWD. Again, that's gusto.com/OWD. And I'm telling you, you're going to love Gusto. Get started today.
Dr. Neal here for my commentary. Remember, stress is necessary. It's a necessary part of life. We can't get around experiencing stress. So what do we have to do? Change our response to it. In my experience, I don't often hear about the negative effects stress may have on our movements. We know, for example, that chronic stress may negatively affect our mental health and even our brain development. Not only that, but when it comes to our activity levels, chronic stress can make us feel more exhausted. And so we may not be able to run, cycle, or row as far or at the intensity we want. Or maybe we're not able to lift as much weight as we wanted to. But it was so interesting to hear today's post and about how our movements can be thrown off if we're under chronic stress. And if you found this topic fascinating, you're in luck because we're going to continue this topic on tomorrow's show. So that'll do it for today. Thank you so much for listening every day. Thank you for sharing this show with others. And I'll be back here tomorrow to finish up this post. So I'll see you there where your optimal life awaits.